Hello everyone. This is the third part of the weaving session, and I think that when you start to Google weaves, if you do anything like that, you are probably going to come across this piece. It's called tumbling block weave or triaxial weaving. The name is in the session that this is, the video that this is. So it's an interesting weave. It's done in three parts, and the first two parts are not that difficult to do, and the third part is where it's you can tumble on it. I can see where it gets the tumble block name on it. So I'm using three pieces of fabric to weave this, plus my background fabric, which in this case is organza. But what I strongly suggest you do with this is to use a piece of interfacing, fusible interfacing, and have it face up on the foam core board that you'd be putting this on to stabilize it. So I have a dark fabric, a medium ground fabric, and a light fabric. So dark, medium, light is what you need here, because that really defines the dimensions of these blocks, so that it looks very much three-dimensional. And so what we start with on this, I've already wrapped my foam core with a piece of interfacing, and I have it fusible side up, so I am touching the glue side on this. The first step is to take all of your strips, I'm taking the dark strips, and lay them onto your foam core board or your cardboard. And I'm just laying them down in next to one another, and eventually these are going to get woven through. So you would completely cover your foam core board with the fabric strips. Then the next step on this is to introduce your medium ground coloration onto your weave. And my medium ground here, after the black, is this gray coloring. And the way that the gray coloring goes in, first of all, it goes across your fabric at a 30-degree angle. So you need some kind of a device, protractor or something, that will let you figure out what a 30-degree angle is. Here I have my straight lines, and then these other lines that are going across are at 30 degrees, and that's the angle that you want the medium weight or medium ground color to go. So the light, medium, dark, this is the medium. So my gray is going across, and the way that I'm weaving it into the black is 1 over, 2 under, 1 over, 2 under, 1 over, and so on until I get all the way to the other edge. Now the next one up is going to stagger over the previous one. So where I have that as 1 over, I'm moving over to the next one, and that's where it becomes 1 over, 2 under, 1 over, 2 under, and so on. And then I stagger the third one up as well, and that becomes 1 over, so, and 2 under, and so on. So when you see the pattern that it creates a line of diamond-shaped patterns. So you get this kind of line of diamond shapes, and diamond shapes, and that's what you have throughout. With that in place, you know that you've done that second weave correctly. So it's 1 over, 2 under, 1 over, 2 under, 1 over, 2 under, and then stagger the next one so that the over part is the next one up. And then when you get to the third one, it's repeating what the first one was. So here, this one are doing the same thing. So every third weave is the same. Now here's the tricky one. This is the third element that gets introduced, and in my case this is the lightest color. And what I'm using to do this is, I'm using this little device that I found. I had this in my sewing kit, so it helps to, you can thread your ribbon into it, and then you can kind of weave with it going in and out. And how do I know where to put this next one? Well, it's a little bit of a visualization process, more so than trying to explain it in words. But if I lie this tape on top of the, or lay it down on top of the, where I have the previous row of boxes here, I can see that I want it to be on top over here, I want it to be on top over here, I want it to be on top here and top here in order to form my boxes. So if it's going to be on top, that means it has to be on bottom someplace else. So let's go with this one and see if we can get this to work in place. So I said it was going to be on top over here. So if I go behind and bring it on top and go behind and bring it on top, and let's see what that looks like. So it creates my box over here, goes behind over here, and it should be behind over here as well to create my box on top. So as I say, it takes a little bit of playing around with this to actually visualize it, but it's the third element that's introduced in, and that's what actually creates this optical effect. Another way that this can be done is by that slashing method. So what I've done here on a piece of suede is I've slashed my lines into it. You slash the width according to any of the other ribbons or pieces that you're going to be using. So in this case, I'm using something that's 3/8 of an inch wide to put this together. So I've slashed in lines that are 3/8 of an inch here, and I have them spread throughout. And then I'm taking my other pieces of fabric, or in my case, grosgrain ribbon, and I'm just going to introduce them to these slashed areas and create this pattern again. Now, once you have this created, what you can do, especially if you're working with the interfacing that's face up, is you can take your press cloth and put it over your design when you're finished with it, and press it, give it some steam with the iron. That will release the fusible on your interfacing, and your piece will be glued in place. So that's how we can do this. Just place it onto your interfacing piece. It would still be on the support board. Put your press cloth on it, give it some steam, and that will hold it in place. And then it won't move, and you can always stitch around the edges just to make sure that it does stay in place. Tumbling blocks or triaxial pleating, not for the faint of heart, not pleating, weaving rather. So a little bit of a challenge, but if you want to play around with it, because you'll see some interesting weaves online, so and this might be one of them. Tumbling blocks or triaxial weaving. Thank you.